Grateful that you are joining us today. My name is Dr. Judy. I'm a chiropractor by trade, and I met my amazing Radiate Up team back in August of 2018, and I'll let them introduce themselves, starting with Scott.
Oh, it's great to be here. My name is Scott. For a living, I rub people. I try not to rub them the wrong way. I'm in soft medicine by trade, but I consider myself a seeker and now a shaker, and we're just doing a lot of interesting things, and it's great to have our experience in Hawaii, and it's great to be here. So, who's next?
Let's go to you.
I'll start. Hi, my name is Yun. By trade, I'm a software developer, and I pretty much run all the technical stuff here for our group. And I am also a channeler, and I'm also, as we are continuing to do more of services and workshops, I'm discovering that I'm learning and I'm receiving more, opening more, unlocking more gifts. So quite a surprise. I'll have some to share maybe later today with the group and with the audience, to the viewers, of what I learned, the things that I went through, and how much it is beneficial to have people around you to help you, especially for those who are starting this spiritual journey. So, and with that, I'll pass it over to Vivian.
Hi, I'm Vivian, and I'm glad to see everyone tonight. And I have to say that Jung will be sharing his special talent tonight with you later on. So just stay tuned, and I'll pass it on to John.
Hi, I'm John. I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I am a clairvoyant sensitive and energy worker. I work with crystals, and I do a lot of dragon energy. And I was invited to Hawaii when they did their dragon activation, and we had a profound time there. And one other person who's wanting to join the meeting but is having a hard time is Melody. She needs the code. If someone could text that to her, because if I try it, I'll lose everything. Judy, that's a hint to you. Melody needs the code to get into the meeting.
I think Scott is taking care of it. He has their contact and everything.
It's not working.
Oh, okay.
All right. Let me
Scott said his phone wasn't working.
Okay, so maybe we'll start off by recapping again our Dragon Workshop and what we got out of it. I know last week we covered some stuff, and there was some stuff that was still a little bit uncomfortable to bring up. So maybe we can just cover that real quick. And also with Pele, the messages we're receiving through John with Pele, and about the Ring of Fires, and some of the messages we receive through John's connection with Pele in regards to volcanoes that's occurring. One thing that's quite interesting, if you weren't here for last week's show, John had received messages about Pele, discussing about other places, especially in Mexico, that are in need of light to stabilize the area. And lo and behold, I think it was yesterday, we received in the news that the volcano in Mexico erupted. So maybe by coincidence, maybe not, but it's something for all of us to discern and connect, and try to get more messages from the from the spirit, and also do our discernment. And with that, I'll pass it over to John to get more information on current events and what's going on with Pele. So I'll pass it over to John.
Okay. Earlier today, I had a message from Pele because I had asked her how like I do with all my patients. I ask her how she is doing, and she said that she is doing well so far, but she is connected to the Ring of Fire. And if one of the greater volcanoes go off, and depending on which way it goes, will affect her. But because of the work we did, it should not be as dramatic as some of the other places. He actually also had a volcano in Mexico talk to me, and he is stating that there is a desperate need for energy work, light work, and pure love for the various volcanoes in Mexico. I do know that there is a new volcano, one of the smaller ones, wasn't really active, that is actually starting to show signs of waking up. And on our west coast of the United States, 16 volcanoes are been now added to the list of active. So something is going on, and any and all people that work with positive energy, light work, love energy, we need to start focusing it towards the Ring of Fire. There has been predicted earthquakes of 11 point and higher for certain areas. So we really want to try to bring that down so it doesn't cause as much havoc. The more we can do, the better things should get.
Yeah, and that goes.
And
sorry, John, I cut you out. You were saying?
Oh no, I just was saying I was done.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's really important message for especially those who are know that they're light workers, and if they want to focus on certain places. I know there's a lot of groups out there that does mass meditations for the entire planet, but at this time, with our information that we're receiving, there is a concentration of activities going on around the Ring of Fire. And as you know, the volcanoes in Hawaii, it's due for, even scientists are talking about that every 200 years it would erupt. That's pretty consistent. And actually, the mountains in Hawaii, volcanoes in Hawaii, are due to erupt. And you hear about Yellowstone as well, and many various other places. So, as we are going through this new, ascension process, there's a lot of Schumann resonance that's coming through, hitting Earth right now. So the Earth is responding. There's a lot of energy that's going on. So we should try to keep a high, vibration around the planet at this time to assist humanity, and also guide moving through this energy that's happening right now. So we don't want the whole land to go kaboom, and it'll be a much harder process for all of us. So it's really important, and if you feel the need or you feel inspired, please you can contact us. We can get together and do some meditations, do some intent as a broader group to alleviate these activities that could be very dangerous for people around those areas. And with that said, I guess I'll just ask John again. Are there any other information that's coming through for you?
From Pele and from the other volcanoes, no. But one of the dragons that we had show up at Hawaii, she's one of the oldest dragons, and she's a pyrite dragon. She's actually been in communication with me quite regularly. And one of the messages that she has for everyone is trust. Trust yourself, trust your heart, trust your instincts, because those are what's going to be needed. Those are the weapons we're going to be needing, is to be able to trust not only other people like us, but to trust our own gifts and trust our own answers that come to us. And that will make us stronger when we're doing our energy work.
Yeah, and that really rings a bell during the workshop or during that a week. Again, we had some information to share about the dragon, but after the workshop, I myself was really being guided to Mauna Kea for some reason, and then we went as a group after the workshop to Mauna Kea, and there I guess I had a spiritual test, which I was not aware of, but all through the previous days I was just being attacked by mosquitoes. I couldn't sleep, so I was very restless. And that day, just when we got there, the elevation, all the parameters, external forces were impacting my, awareness of my own body, my own energy. So I became very clouded at that time. And in my mind, I'm pretty good about discerning about who I'm communicating to, but at that time I was just not there. So I was receiving a message, to go over to, there's what would you call that? Up in the mountain on the side by the telescopes.
And
It's like an altar or
We were up there where the observatories were.
Yeah, by the observatory. So that's where we were, and then I was being led to another area right next to it, which is restricted.
The summit.
The summit, yeah. And there was an altar, a set of rocks, and it's very restricted. But I kept receiving a message to tell me to go there and go there. And I got really uncomfortable to the point where there's a sign, and I'm like, I can't go there. This is not right. Doesn't feel right. But yet, I couldn't discern who I'm talking to. I thought I was talking to, Pele, which I've been having connection through the whole time. But this time around, due to the high elevations and lack of sleep and various other things, it was just very hard and difficult for me. So I had to rely on all of us, and I kept asking everyone and asking, should we do this? Should I do this? And I kept getting said no, but I was still persistent about it until I'm like, okay, let me go over to John, and because I knew he's gonna scold me for sure, or he's gonna tell me. So I went over there and I got scolded, and it actually brought me back to awareness about myself, to check with my higher self and check who I'm speaking to. And then I was able to actually step back and take a breath and then just, ask, are you of the light? And the answer I got was no. So there was a trickster that was trying to convince me to go to a restricted area of great importance for the Hawaiian people, and I was being led there, and it was one of the scariest moments up until my awakening in 2016 that I had to go through this, and without the trust and reliance on the group, I think would have been in trouble, quite a nasty trouble, especially with obviously with police, all that stuff, and the spiritual aspect ramification, which I don't even want to think about. So for those who are going through this process, there are times, I believe now, that you will be tested. And there is amount of trust that you around the surrounding people that you work with to help you. It's very difficult to do it on your own. And I was very grateful to have our group here to help me go through this. But the amazing thing is afterward, I was able to overcame that whole situation, and I commanded my own life back. I told myself, okay, you know, like, you are not to ever step into my auric domain. You cannot, you know, ever come near me again. And I'm going to bring the light, and I'll send love out wherever I go. And from that time, I think my third eye, my other sensitivities started opening up. I literally saw, like, through my third eye, people of, you know, what would you look like, indigenous of Hawaiian, back maybe in like 1600s, you know, and they were just kneeling down. So it was quite interesting that they recognized that I've, you know, in my own discernment, that I've passed the test, and that they're sending appreciation and, you know, honoring the fact that I've passed that stage. And from then on, other things like just being able to, my body was being able to be more sensitive about certain areas. Like when we're passing certain areas around, right, there's like, John's like, there's a lot of like heavy dark energy, and I'm like, what is that in my body? My gut, it's not feeling right. It's like a stomach ache, but it was just really painful. And then when we passed that certain area, it just went away. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that once you go through these spiritual tests, it seems that your body start, you know, not the body itself, but your energetic level increases and you become more in tune. It's kind of like graduating, I guess. So yeah, and some various other things, if I recall, and then I'll bring it up, but that goes back to the trust. So trust is really important, and also to be, you know, very aware of your body and your mind, because that never happened to me. Like, so much environment situation caused me to forget to be aware, to actually self-check myself, who I'm talking to. So that's a big learning lesson, and I hope that other people see this and, you know, take it seriously, because you don't want to mess with these spiritual energies. But anyhow, so that's kind of all I have to say for now. And if I remember other things, I'll bring it up and share it. But I know for today we're going to talk about connection to higher self, and then a bit of automatic handwriting. Maybe we can go through the group and kind of talk about how each of us connect to our higher self, and then kind of give the audience, the viewers, our own journey of how we connect to our higher self, and kind of give them an idea of, you know, potentially, you know, if they have the intent to want to connect, you know, they could probably run into these situations as well, and it could be very beneficial for them. So I'll start off in the upper left corner. Judy, if you want to share us some of your experiences.
Sure, definitely. Hi, Melody.
Hi, Judy.
I'm glad you can join us. How I started really is ever since I was a little girl, I'm pretty, kind of like John, pretty connected, my senses was pretty high. But as you grow older, you kind of move away from that because I guess with life. But I've always been guided throughout my life, and I've always stayed in the state of love and light. And as I'm going through and watching this spiritual testing, I was blessed to have studied under Master Shah's and take the wisdom of being in the state of love and have humility and not have ego, and to bring in just the service. In his explanation of it is just chanting. So when we were going through different places, I've always bring in the light for myself and the surrounding, and I've always stay in the state of love, and I vibrate that love out. So it was much more easier for me to move through spaces that are sacred, that are, because I bring forth that love and that light to not only to protect myself, but to also clear the space in that area. So that's how I work through the spiritual, is through the guidance, but always wherever I go, I will say my prayers, and I will call on all of my heavens team, and I will bring in the light and protect me.
And Judy, how do you bring in the light for those who?
And then that's how I discern from the energy.
And Judy, how do you bring in the light for those viewers who, is it just their intent? Or?
Yeah, I've been very blessed that the sun and the moon have been connecting with me, and therefore they taught me, or since 2005, they gave me the message that we are children of the sun. And the light energy, if you can think of a sun where there's darkness, if you turn on the light, it lit up everything. So the sun energy is like that. So when you're bringing in the light energy, just imagine that sun beam radiating through every part of your body and the space around you. It's kind of almost like you're turning on the light within you, and that light just beams outward. And by bringing in that light and then staying in the state of love and sending love, you automatically shield yourself with that light.
Nice. So viewers can actually visualize light, and just with the intent that they, maybe say
it's good that you're mentioning that. And I had a conversation with one of a dear friend of mine who's beginning to start their spiritual journey and haven't really figured out that they are on a spiritual journey. And I shared with her the connection of why she's consistently having connection with me, because you know how there's no coincidence, right? Everything is, you meet people for a reason, you're in different places for a reason. And in her situation, she is being called upon to tap into her true soul potential, but wasn't aware that that's what she needed to do. So by becoming more and more in tune, listening to your body is the key. Like John said, just trust your body. So I think if you're starting, it's better to start learning to tune in to what your body is speaking to you. How is the body telling you? Like say, if you eat something, you can recognize the allergic reaction right away. So if you have a headache, what does that headache telling you? Is it because you're lacking water, lacking sleep? What is it? So these are the type of questions that you guys start learning to discern. And the more that you learn through tune into the body, that's how you can then discern further as you're working into the spiritual aspect to connect. If you're getting goosebumps, what does that tell you? You know, is it the truth? Is it a message that's coming and sending you? So these are the kind of discernment that the beginner should learn how to start paying attention to.
Yeah, tuning in and just listening to body makes sense, and just getting into that practice of just being aware. I guess what's that word I'm looking for? Mindfulness, I guess. Being mindful of everything, of patterns around your body. You mentioned coincidence. Nothing's a coincidence. So some people, I know for at least very, linear people, my environment is covered with, I'm surrounded by engineers, so, we always deal with statistics and numbers, so it's coincidence is not something that, the probability of that, it's really random, but anyhow, it's just kind of like seeing the patterns, seeing your body and how situations would cause that. Just being mindful of everything. And do you have anything else to share?
Well, the beautiful thing is that if you're watching this YouTube video and you want to connect with our group, we are more than happy to guide you through. And we do offer classes, workshop to really balance your body, tune up, and learn how to really connect with the body, and then have the body, mind, spirit integrating together, and then working with the energy. So the beautiful thing is that our group has a diverse team that comes from different experiences, different background that we can share. So, tap into our service. We do offer that.
Yeah, and that's definitely, we're going to talk about that as a topic towards the end of this session. Just to kind of introduce the viewers about new services and things that we can offer. And also the community that we're trying to build out as well. So we'll bring that up in a bit. And if you have anything else, and otherwise
just pass it on to.
I'll pass it on to
Vivian.
I'm gonna go down and just go around. So I'll pass it to Vivian.
Okay, well, for me, since we already covered the topic of being mindfulness of your body, I'll just talk about being mindful of your thoughts. Well, for me, what's important with how to connect with the higher self, I would have time for myself to meditate, and then at other times I would observe my thoughts, like what's going through my thoughts, and especially when I have challenges or anything has to do with emotions, and I would have that time to myself, and I would write down my thoughts and pretty much talk to myself and kind of go through like what just happened, why do I feel a certain way, and what brought me to that feeling, and so basically it's just you just have to be mindful of your thoughts on the situations, and how do you work through it and work through your emotions. And then there's other, I would say, steps I would take is to actually communicate with myself. I would actually do one-on-one talk conversations on my own. I'll ask some questions and then I'll answer on my own. Whatever thought pops up, that's what I take. And that's one thing how I deal with it. And then another one where sometimes I would just sit down quietly and just start doodling, just writing whatever, any words just pop up in my mind. I'll keep practicing and keep writing, just even though it may seem nonsense, but it's one way you can communicate with your higher self. And with, I guess, more practice, you start to see a pattern or a message through that, whatever that you're writing down, the words or the doodling. And that's one way. And then another one, I always say dreaming, like pay attention to your dreams. That's how like your higher self will communicate with you, and your higher self will give messages. So if you don't understand the thoughts or the meaning of your dreams, there's like lots of information online. You can always go online and then search for the meanings of your dream. So that's all I have to share. I would pass it on to Scott.
Well, let me ask you, Vivian, about your first. Actually, Vivian, let me ask you about your experience how you first connected to your higher self, how you made that connection. Because I know with Dr. Judy, she mentioned that she always had some form of connection since she was a child. So maybe you'd like to share when that happened to you, like that connection, just like how that just kind of snapped into place for you.
Well, it's my that I always have this like strong feeling that certain things will happen, and I would say certain things, and sometimes I don't really pay attention to after I say certain things. So it's like, oh, forget it. I'll just play along with it. But I didn't realize that certain things turned out to be important, that it actually came true. So as you starting to notice the pattern, you starting to realize, oh, there's more to it than just that. And then not only that, when I ask myself certain questions, I get a response, through my body. Like I would get like a vibrations, or like my body would get chills. That for me is my confirmations. And just basically being aware of your body, aware of your thoughts, and over time you start to see a pattern, and that's how you realize, oh, this is more than just a random thing.
I see. So for your experiences, something that you
Your
really
your
didn't.
voice, I cannot hear you.
Oh, sorry about that. I had myself on mute, trying to prevent some static noise that's coming through our feed. So I do apologize for that. As I was saying, there's such a different experience with Dr. Judy and yours, because it's something that it seems like you had to work and to be active, engaged, to make that connection to your own higher self.
Right.
And then to pay attention to and that takes some time, because I know, I recall like you've been working and been actively working on improving and radiating yourself up and resolving internal issues. So working within yourself to, to kind of like dissolve all these other low vibrational energies that we built up either through karma or through like over time in our own existence. Can't say that word. Existence in this lifetime. Is that correct?
Well,
And
there's always some inner work that you have to do with. You have to deal with your emotions. That's one heavy stuff that you have to lighten yourself, because if you don't lighten that emotions, that's what's dragging you down. That's what, like, I would say, close your opportunity to actually connect. Once you start to like lighten, let go a little by little, I start to see that certain abilities or certain connections start to open up. So mainly for me, it's a lot of inner work, and I'm still not done yet continuously, and I still have a lot of work to do. And yeah, it's not easy, but it's something that you always have to continuously work on, and just continue learning. It's a journey.
so do you want to share what kind of internal things that you're working on? Because I'm sure like somebody out there would have similar things that can benefit off of that as well.
Well,
And what
let's
did you
just
do to
say,
transmute it?
I wouldn't say I could transmute it complete, but I'm still working on it. But I guess one of my issue is self love. Just not really trusting myself, accepting myself, or like valuing myself in it. I always like think about other people, like put them first before I put myself first, which is, I know it's not like the correct, well, I wouldn't say correct, but not a good way to start with, because it's always, you have to start loving with yourself before you can love anyone else, and truly love anyone else. You have to work within yourself, and it's all in oneness. And if you forget to love yourself, then that's incompleteness. So that's just one thing to start, is just to work with my self love, self accepting.
And how are you doing that? And also how are you doing that today?
Are you really?
I'm like pushing your butt.
Well, just by just taking care of myself, realizing that I'm also important as everyone else, and it's not to be, I would say, too harsh on myself, judging myself too harshly. Yeah, that's a start.
That's great. Thank you for that. And I know I was trying to dig inside you a little bit more, but
Hey, that's
I'll
what we're here for, to share.
I'll leave it at that, and I'll pass it over to Melody, and I'm gonna unmute her, and then Hi, Melody.
Hi. Hi. Wow.
Do you have anything to
Well,
share? I know you
yeah,
popped in and out just recently for the viewers. So, Melody
yes.
is Scott's sister, and she's in Hawaii, from Hawaii.
Well, the way I really what I've been working on a lot in uh in the last 10 or 20 years is I followed the Zen Buddhist path, and so I've been in that kind of practice, and and now it's kind of moved to uh and into the same kind of field, but looking at the higher self as life, what the heart is. Everything that isn't karmic, ego driven is the higher self. So when we're really truly in our higher self, we're very present. And so my practice is awareness practice. And I've just come into your group because I came to the workshop, and I I really love everything about it because it's about love, it's about sharing that love and making the world a better place with finding or living in the domain of your higher self. You need to understand when ego is talking to you, when those voices in your head are negative, and it's not very friendly place. And when you're working on self-love, and taking care of, when I'm taking care of Melody, then I'm there in that loving place, and then I can share with other people, that love, and reach out with that. So my practice is that, and I talk to my higher self every day, and I call my higher self the mentor, because my higher self knows everything.
Mhm.
And when I'm having a problem with things, I just ask for guidance from the mentor. And so that's my practice. And I'm so excited about your group, what you guys are doing, and being kind of a part of that, because nature and has always been a part of how I find the higher self, or God, or the source, through nature. And you guys are working through things that I love, like channeling, I mean, higher beings, more evolved beings, and crystals, and taking care of the planet, and all of that stuff really resonates with me. So it seems to fit in with my other practice that I've been working on a long time, which is
Yeah, that's great. That seems like, like we all have different little approaches and
yeah,
what's it,
little,
road that we're taking, but it all leads in the same path. It all takes you
yeah,
to the final destination, whether it's like a
yeah,
straight line or a squiggly line or whatnot.
hmm,
So like when you're
yeah,
saying like higher self, is it like like a sound or a mind thought that comes through you? Do you talk to that or?
yeah, I do.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So that's
Yeah.
good for the viewer because sometimes when they hear like higher self, they're not sure what's really that, but you put it in really good explanation that it's your own being that's without the ego,
Mm-hmm.
that's your fullest light aspect of yourself. So that's really the real you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's encompassing of love because source, God, or higher self, they're all a soup of love that we exist in. And people may not see what that means when we're connecting, but it's literally just having conversation. Sometimes you have that monkey mind that comes through your head, your thoughts coming through. But if you can kind of like filter that out and calm that, then you get one singularity of thought that comes through that you can actually communicate with. And that's truly your higher self if that is all-encompassing love.
Right. Because when we're in presence, when we're with life in our higher selves, we feel joy, love. When we're not in this dualistic world, when we feel ego, which is the human condition, we feel negative and there's a lot of karmic self-hate there. So just to use these tools and learn how to notice that's just ego, and you can get past that and go straight to the source, straight to love.
Yeah.
And dwell in that realm.
Well, that's great. Do you have anything else to share before I kind of pass it over to John? So,
I was actually going to
sure.
say something there, Jung, for Lynn, Vivian, and Melody to bring forth the wisdom of self-love and of self-understanding of your true soul potential. That is what Source, God, whomever you want to call it, want each and every soul to recognize, is that we hold that power within us, learning to discern that, learning to love ourselves so that we can then be the light that radiate outward, and understanding how to discern the self-inflicting pain of fear, of anger, of jealousy, all of that those are emotional experience, and learning to recognize, okay, thank you for that lesson. I appreciate that I'm able to experience it, but I am the soul of love and light. And the more that we can recognize that, the more that we can expand that. As John was saying, this is the time that we, as the children of the Creator, is here to do, is to bring forth that light. And therefore, when we begin to understand that we have that power, we have that ability, and learn to actually own it and know it, that we have that, and let go of all of those. This is why our group was being guided to create and to put on workshops, and we are being guided to assist those that are ready to step into their true calling and move forward and really hone in on their full potential. So I'm so grateful that you found that our group is bringing forth that energy for you and triggering the true soul potential that you have within you. So thank you for sharing that. It would definitely help a lot of viewers who are watching. When we put on workshop, it's all being guided by the higher realm for us to really go not only to assist humanity, but to assist Gaia at the same time, because right now it's an urgency for as many souls to awaken as possible. So that's what I have to say.
Oh, that's good. Well said, Dr. Judy. So in this time, I'll pass it over to John.
Hello.
Hi, John.
Basically, a lot of what I do has been covered, but I have been, I guess you can call me a practitioner since I was 4 or 5 years old. And back then, I had no clue what I was doing. But I did notice one thing really young, that I had an overwhelming desire to be in nature. And I, as a child, I had neighbors who were of different belief systems. And all of them said that I needed to go to church. And Mom said, find your own way. And so I went to various churches, and I did not feel comfortable being indoors. And the moment I was outdoors, it's like a whole different universe for me. I had communications with spirits. I had communications with God, as you want to call him that. And my belief is I believe in a creator. And I don't put any gender on it usually. But when you're in society, you sometimes have to conform with society, at least in words only. But one of my mentors, because I would be fidgety indoors. I couldn't do any type of energy work indoors. And she's told me, think of the one place that puts you in euphoria. And for me, that's Fall Creek. It's down here in Oregon. It's a wonderful place. It's magical. It's beautiful. The energies are phenomenal. And she said, okay, hold that in your head. And when you go to do energy work indoors, call on that. By calling on that, you call on your higher self, because you are not restricted indoors. When you do this, you have basically blown the walls open and brought the indoors in, and it goes through your heart and out. And with it comes love, comes happiness, comes light of any color that you desire, or all lights. And for me, when the light I call light, I imagine a candle being placed in a room of crystals, and just radiating out, shooting to the far reaches of the universe. And it starts close and works clear out. But that's also how by placing myself in nature, puts me mentally in connection with my oneness, myself. Messages come through, the percentage of the messages are symbolic. So sometimes I can discern what those messages are, but other times I just let the people know what I saw, and I let them discern what it is, because you are just a conduit. You are a conduit for a higher energy, and sometimes they don't know the way to communicate the words, so they're gonna give you pictures, they're gonna give you feelings, they're going to give you sensations. And that is I guess what I'm trying to say is there are many facets to your higher self, and they're not going to just sit up and strike a conversation with some people. Some people, it's going to be feelings coming through, and if they're feelings that are not yours, not normally yours, or pictures, or sounds that are forming words, but they're not really words. So each of us has a different method of connecting with our higher self. And as you work with it more and more, you get other pieces added to it. For instance, when I first started working with it, I just got pictures, I got photographs. And then later on, I started getting sound. And then it's like I was getting sensations, feelings, emotions. And I just started putting them all together and weaving a tapestry And this is how my higher self communicates with me.
It's interesting.
Another thing is I spend a good amount of time with one foot in the veil and the other foot in this world. So there are times that I am in trance a good percentage of the day. And it's not my choice. It's me being kept open for my higher self to communicate with me.
That's great. I mean,
So
that's
if
interesting.
you feel like you're daydreaming, you're probably communicating with your higher self.
Yeah, oftentimes, I mean, it's not something that human, as being a human, even from a child to an adult, to the time that you pass, it's not, you're not disconnected. It's just that you're not aware that you have this connection to this other aspect of yourself, this higher aspect of yourself, and it's available to you. It's just that you just have to be in tune and be mindful about your around and your bodies, and just make that connection that all of it is giving you messages to connect to, because you yourself wants to connect to yourself. It's kind of like playing a Sims a game or something like that. You have your character, your avatar, and you're trying to get that avatar to wake up and interface with you. So daydreaming or painting, artists, music, things, engineers or scientists, like a thought that comes into that solves a problem or creates an idea or a solution or something, or invent something, that's all receiving to you. Oftentimes you hear scientists or engineers are like, oh, I took a shower and then I just have a solution to my problem out of nowhere.
Yep.
And they just didn't realize that there was a connection there. They're in tune, but they're just not fully, or maybe not aware. And do you have anything else you want to share, John? Before we move it over to Scott.
Basically, pay attention to every detail of yourself, because your higher self communicates in really subtle ways at times. And then other times, it's a sledgehammer to the head. So those little quiet voices could be your higher self communicating with you. And you just have to relax and listen. And ask questions.
Yeah, breathe.
Always ask questions. Because, get the answers if you do. If you don't ask questions, you won't get the right answers. You'll get vague answers or partial answers. So fine tune them. Get it down to that main detail. And so we'll know that it's your higher self and not some other entity that's playing a game with you.
Yeah, like what happened to me.
Because, answer questions.
John, you cut off a little bit.
Characters and entities, false entities, we do not like having questions asked to them. They don't want to answer them because it will expose them. But your higher self thrives on the questions. It's wanting to give you answers. And your heart knows that they are true because you can feel it in your heart.
That's great.
That's it.
Cool. I know you cut off a little bit, so we apologize. There's some feedback, and I think on John's side, his internet's a little bit slow, so we apologize for that. But essentially what he's saying is that, just be aware of your body, be in tune. There's a lot of entities out there, so sometimes you have negative thoughts or things like thoughts that are trying to influence you to do things that are not good. So you can command it away. You can tell it to what, because they don't want to be exposed. You know, that's what he's saying, is that once once you find out, once they know you found out, they're like, oh well, they're caught. So, and then they pretty much have to go away. Essentially, that's kind of like a gist of what he was saying. If you had a hard time listening in. So we'll move it over to Scott now.
Great. Hey, I love our subject. So how to connect to that higher self.
Yeah, definitely.
I love what John's talking about the asking the questions. And as I mentioned, I didn't know what to call myself. That's a tough question. I am. How do you fill in that blank? We are so many things. We have such a wonderful capacity to generate light and love. It's a really powerful thing. And if you really want to know how to make a connection to that, just watch children. Just pause and watch children and ask yourself, how do they connect? Go out in nature and ask, how does it connect? Well, it's always connected. It doesn't have a mind clouding it with doubt and confusion. It doesn't get up in the morning and go, am I a tree? No, it knows it's a tree. It's going to grow. It doesn't have self-doubt. It may have challenges, get all twisted, but it doesn't have doubt. So I guess in my life, you know, for tools, how to connect, they're the simple things, you know, and they're really just, like the dragon says, to trust. You know, when we're not trusting, watch all the chaos, watch all the confusion, watch all of our intent just get ripped in half, you know, because our mind is giving us doubt. So we just need to find what is doubt. And usually it's just our own mind. It's our own belief system. Something I like to call BS. It's just a bunch of BS. Most of it is, you know, what did you learn growing up? Oh, you're not good enough. Why? You know, and there's tears and emotions and crying, that kind of stuff. Anyway, you know, it's not that hard to connect. Just live your life seeking, asking, looking for answers, looking for light, knowing the difference between everything that's the opposite of it. It's pretty simple, really. And letting it go and trying not to let your mind cloud you up. You know, constantly asking and trying to find that truth. Anyway, my childhood memories got stirred up in some of the work I was doing with Melody. Can I share some of that?
Yeah, definitely, please.
Love to.
Yeah, so some of our art connection, and we're working on finding tools, looking for expressions of what we're looking for, and even though I've dabbled in art on and off in my life, I haven't really. That hasn't been my career. My career has been getting into people's space really close and connecting to energies there. But my art's been, you know, kind of sitting on the side a lot. But Melody, she's been doing art as a professional for a very long time and a teacher. So it's like, Melody, I need to learn how to do watercolors, you know, because her watercolors are really good. So basically she says, let's just begin by taking this blank canvas and getting it wet. So like, get it wet like this. And I just watched her getting it wet. And then it's like, now, you know, that was orange. So grab some purple, something that's just, you know, contrast to it. And then water it up here and touch it here and just squiggles and wiggles on the canvas. And then it was like, study it and start to look at it. And as I started to study and look at it, there was one little spot on it where it was like, well, I see a head could really go there, but it's really weird hairdo, whatever's going on here. And just kind of, you know, most of the body was kind of already there because of the earlier squiggles. And I just started to bring things up, detailing it. And I want to see if you recognize who came up. Can you see kind of right there? And I told Melody the childhood experience that I remember going to part of the house and looking at an image that looked exactly like this.
Oh.
Can you see that? Maybe it's not the best lighting on it, but
Here, can you bring that picture and the statue side by side? And then I'll blow up the screen so the viewers can see.
Yeah, and how's the light in there?
It's pretty good.
So keep in mind that I didn't paint the picture that direction, but I noticed that first, that owl popping up. Anyway, things just popped up. But that one and this one. But as I was pondering upon it, and then Melody pulled it out and showed it to me, a lot of childhood memories started coming back. You know, like what the living room used to look like and details of it that I'd forgotten just by having that connection to something from my childhood. And I really think that's the process that this awakening is we're remembering. We're just remembering more and more. And as we do, usually we'll see synchronicities popping up. But I've had a lot of synchronicities with this gal. And I wanted to tell you that I had childhood experiences with it, yet my parents didn't know the meaning. And I didn't know that she rode on dragons. That was new to me. So, you know, I'm starting to ask more questions about dragons. And asking, you shall receive.
Yeah.
Dragons are really talking to me.
That's great. Yeah, that's a really cool story, and the connection that you made. I mean, this is through just painting, and you're receiving channeling information, activators for you to recall certain things, you know, in childhood.
Yeah, well, you've channeled her before, right?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very fun connection.
Yeah, it's interesting that she came to me, and I know she came to Vivian, Dr. Judy as well, and I'm sure in this group we all have a connection to her. It's just, you know, in dragons, things are not coincidence, right? There's certain little subtleties, certain informations just to help you activate certain parts of your remembrance so you can know who you are, who you truly are outside of this body, but the entirety of yourself as a soul. So that's really amazing.
Yeah, you got to reflect back and see what things you're starting to remember. You might be remembering things that relate to experiences that you're starting to have, starting to see unusual things, strange coincidences that are, you know, synchronicities. You might become more aware of things shifting and changing because the planets and nature and many things are jumping ahead of us and making shifts and changes and faster vibrations, and we need to speed ours up. Work on, you know, staying tight to that lighter energy.
Yeah, that's great.
Whatever tools help you do it.
Mm-hmm. So I know we hit up on the hour now. I'm sorry? John,
Can I throw something in real quick like on that?
Yeah, definitely.
Kuan Yin is just one of, I think there's 35 of them throughout the world. but there are 35 dragon mothers, and she is one of the 35. And these are they were the protector of dragon children, and they were the teachers to the children, and they also were the ones who nursed the elders. So,
do you know who are the other 34?
Not off the top of my head. Bridget is one. And I think they said Freya is one of them. There is another, there's a Hindu goddess that is one. The natives have two. So North America has one and South America has another. But I'm not exactly sure names or anything. I do know that there's a gentleman who's done research on them, and I don't know if he's ever published his book, but it's called The 35 Mothers. So I don't know if it was ever published or not, because he passed away just shortly after finishing it, and I do not know if they ever published it.
Well, that's something for us to
but he's
search
been
online.
working on it since 1930. Yeah, he's been working on it since 1932, and he passed away in 2005.
2005.
So he spent most of his life doing it. Yeah.
Let me do a quick search
and I do not know his.
And see if I can find anything for the viewers.
Yeah.
Freya is my granddaughter's middle.
What was that?
Freya, you mentioned her.
Scott?
You mentioned Freya. I was just saying that's my granddaughter's middle name. Freya, right?
Yeah. Freya and Bridget.
So.
And the other ones I really know their names.
Yeah, so we'll look into that some more, and once we do our own research on the side, maybe we can find this person, and maybe there's a book we can share some more details to the viewers. Maybe post on Facebook or something. But I know it's up to the hours right now, and I guess we still have some stuff to cover. So if it's all right with everybody, maybe another half an hour would be good. We'll just push it for a half an hour. Is that okay?
Good.
And if if one of us or even the viewers, if you drop, then thank you for tuning in, and please subscribe to us. Really help us out, and then we'll try to bring more content and more topics like these, and we'll try to condense it more as we get better at this, right? But so I'll wrap it up with myself real quick, and then maybe we can do some practices of connecting to higher self. At least the practice that I've gone through, and maybe an example of automatic handwriting, because I want to share, once you are able to tap into this, you can pretty much tap into anything. And one of the most simplest to really begin to connect to the higher self, or to begin channeling in terms of communications, like going to a trance and then stepping aside and letting a higher being comes in to pass down information. So if you're interested in this, the simplest way that most people discuss is through automatic handwriting, to get the body in tune with the new energy. And that pretty much that's how I approached it, and that's how I was able to do other things like automatic drawing, which I get an imprint of someone who I'm working with, and to relay that energy down to my fingers to the pen, and then draw that person as one of their one of their past lives, really. So you can be creative with this. You can push it forward like painting and other things, but I've just pushed it to automatic past life regression drawing. So we can get into that a little bit more and show you some of the things that was really cool about what, at least when I worked with Scott and we tapped into something that I didn't even know about it. So that brought a lot of confirmation in what we were seeing. But a little bit about myself and the connection was 2016. Actually, it goes back to like 2006, or all my life really. I've been reading about esoteric knowledge, histories, just really interested in all that stuff. As a kid, I would volunteer in the library, so I can have access to all these books. I will go to the nonfiction because the nonfiction is pretty cool. And then over time, with life, you want to get a good career and jobs and all that stuff. So I picked engineering, so I can do all that, and I suffered throughout college. And then after college, I was able to get back and do more reading. And I was reading, and then I guess at some point I got really tired and fed up of things that trouble me. So for myself, it's really anger. I have a lot of anger issue in my past. I may be smiling now, but back then I had a lot of anger boiled inside. It's just things you grow up with, parent separations, all that other things that all those imprints of bad memories that could scar you internally as a child. Well, it happened to me, or getting in fights and things like that. Getting bad grades, or those SATs or essays you have to write, finals and stuff. But anyhow, so I had a lot of those issues, but mainly was anger. I was expressing it throughout, my loved ones, and I was unintentionally, but it just comes out, And I wanted to change, and I read enough that I was seeking to change, and read enough to see that there's patterns in these things. And once I recognize the pattern, I make the adjustment, and then I try to put the effort and the intent in when catching myself. And then that's when I realized that, I was starting to change. So I'm working internally now. And then I'm starting to see things like numerology, numbers, or messages for like, why am I listening to this? Why am all of a sudden I feel the urge to listen to all these people, but all the messages coming through the same at one time. So I take that in, and then I got into, I wanted to do automatic handwriting. I just wanted to connect because I got into channeling, all these YouTube channelers. They seem so cool, You have access to the library when you're a kid. Now you have access to the universe. Imagine that, that's really awesome. So I wanted to do that, but at this time I was still working internally with myself. And by working internally, it opened up a floodgate for me to allow me to have more access. And it's just a matter of like being aware of how to connect. So I was able to tap into some of the YouTube videos about connecting to higher self. And this lady is talking about automatic handwriting and how she's connected to source. Source, you can say this God, infinite creator, all beings, or creation of everything, divine universe, all of that. So what she mentioned is about permission. And, through automatic handwriting. And I wasn't sure what that is, but I really wanted to try it. So I went home because I was listening through the car, YouTube streaming on while I was driving. Got home, and it was late at night. Opened a book and put my pencil, just like I'll show it to you. Let's just push it down a little bit. Change the camera. Sorry about that, but let me move the angle. Kind of just put your hand on your book, like that, right, on the notebook, and just stay in a meditative state, and kind of just sit there. And then I had an epiphany that, oh, maybe I should ask permission. Because I tried a couple of times already before, it didn't work, but this time I felt something. Sat there, and then I said, I give permission to connect only and only to the light, to love, and to beings of Christ consciousness, because that's the term I use. But you can use anything. Once I did that, I felt an intense energy flowing above my crown chakra right here, and it was just tickling, electrical tickling sensation, and it went down to my brain, and then it just felt like it went down to my fingers, and it was controlling my hand. Then I was drawing, and the first thing I drew was a dinosaur and a fish, and I didn't know what that was until later. It was a dragon, and then I started connecting that way. Then, you start to draw like a bunch of squiggly lines. You don't know what is it, but you let the fingers and the hand do its thing. Then over time you get messages. So like you ask a question, like John said, ask a question and you shall receive. So I ask a question, I'll get yes or no. So now, if you think about it, I'm actually doing divinations. I can ask questions and I get something. I had no idea what I was doing. I was getting myself into, but it felt great and I felt a lot of love. And so I know that in my heart that the energy that what I was doing was for the benefit of me expanding and growing. And how I would know that is because I felt it in my heart. I felt love. It's like you're hugging your mom and dad, hugging your loved one, and you felt this really nice, warm feeling. Imagine that times like 2,000. It takes you to the point where you're just crying. So I cried a lot. So, and as a man now, most guys don't admit that they cry, but I've opened up already, so I'm okay with sharing. I cried a lot during that time. Not just crying, I'm bawling, I'm literally crying, and like you're screaming, crying, because there's so much love energy coming through, and so for my connection was really strong, but I don't think I would get there unless I work within myself, working to unlock certain things. So you kind of raise your energy to a level where they can meet you halfway. And then they can flood you with love and positivity and, all that. So that was like 2006, right? Then within a year, 2 years, I wanted to speak like everyone else on YouTube, all the channels. Adronis, who else, Bashar, Cryon. All those amazing beings, people that can connect. It's so cool. So I wanted to do that too. So then I asked, and it was a very challenging process for me. But that's something that we all can do, and maybe you might have the same experience that I have. But if you do have that same experience, don't be scared. Stay in the heart, and know that ask, is this good for me? Does it feel right? And listen to your heart. If it feels bad, you feel anxiety, anxious, and maybe it's not good. Maybe you're tapping into something else. But ask, is it? But the first thing, give permission, so you're at least in good grounds, because the body, your mind, have control of this body. So you control this body, no one else, because this is your temple. So you command it. So by giving permission, no one else besides who you gave permission to is allowed to enter your domain. So that's kind of what I did, and then that just opened the floodgate for me. So a little bit, maybe like we can do an example right here, real quick. Like how I did it was, if you haven't meditated, or if you have, it's simply just quieting your mind, putting your pen on your notepad. Just leave it like I can see it. Just leave it like that, and then just close your eyes, breathe, continue to breathe, And then, some people maybe they want to send some white light around for protection, things like that. It's all up to you. But it wouldn't hurt, to have this protection around you. And then just give permission. I give permission to only connect to beings of the highest light of God. And then you just wait. And what I get is, see, my body's reacting now. So it will just, and then until you ask a question, say, maybe I'll ask a question. Will this session here will it be beneficial for viewers for their own conscious expansion? And then that's a yes. So maybe that's hard to see, but maybe I'll put it here, and I'll right here, and I'll ask the same. With this, what we're presenting is beneficial to humanity, and that's a yes. And then you can discern by saying that maybe you can ask a question that is that you can get a no, pretty much, right? So you can ask a question. For me, do I have entity attachment right now? So I wrote a no. And that was not me writing it. It's just drawing it. So this is something I worked on. And, I fill up these books every day. Not every day, but, I got through like a couple books already for the past couple years, maybe 4, 5, 6 already. So I'm doing it pretty much almost every day. Maybe about, right, like when I put the kids to sleep and I get onto it, I do about 2 hours of it, or 1 hour, whatever, something like that. So as you practice and you progress, then you can, that's one way to connect and to do more channeling if that's what you desire. And through this, it allows me to start getting imprints of other people, which I just discovered recently, like 8 months ago. So I think it was 8 months ago, right? Right, Dr. Judy? Vivian? Was it?
It's not that long.
Actually, I think it was back in. It was. When did we go to Arkansas? It was 2017.
It was summertime.
It was summer 2017 because last year you went to Iseti for summer. So yeah, it was 2017.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so shortly after that. So that's kind of like the higher self connection, and for me, it's the final step through making that deeper connection was to ask permission, to understand that you have that control, and also like Dr. Judy said, when you're stay in the state of love, and command your body, command yourself that I am only surrounded by love, no other low vibrations can enter my auric field. Expand your auric field outside, because you don't not just this body, you go further out. So like John was talking about, when he can't go outside, tap into the heart, reach out to further, and then his fields would expand, and he can connect to more of their nature that way, whenever he can't. So yeah. So do you all have any things you want to say? Maybe what is it already? 10:25. Maybe we can do one example of like past life regression, so viewers can see. Just to.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So I don't know who's on, but if anybody's on right now wants to leave a comment, we can probably tap to that. But otherwise, maybe we can just pick one of each other. So I know Melody stepped out already. John, I don't think I've done you yet, or Melody, or who wants to volunteer?
I'm still here.
Oh, you're still here, Melody? Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, I just joined.
So does anybody want to volunteer? Maybe I can do a little small practice so people, viewers can see.
Are you just talking about our past lives or what?
Yeah, It's basically just kind of sketching, getting an imprint of what you look like in one of your past lives. So like,
Oh, okay. Well,
Why don't you
I
do
was just
that?
going to tell you about my past lives. That's what you're meaning.
what did you say, John?
I said Melody or John should
I
have them do one.
Okay, so who wants to go?
John was
I
saying
do.
something.
I would.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll do one of each for you.
I was just that
Sorry, John, you were saying?
I was misunderstanding what you were wanting us to do. I thought you wanted us to share one of our past lives.
Oh,
He
no,
said,
no, it's just,
I want it done.
no, this is to demonstrate once you have the connection, since we already talked about connection to the higher self, and what can you potentially do with it, you know? Well, for me, it's, you know, I can get an imprint on past lives.
Since you do so quickly, why don't you do both of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll start with Melody then. Usually what I do is I try to ask for like a life that's kind of significant to this lifetime for you. Unless you have something you're curious about, like first, second, in the most recent or not, things like that. But since we do want a quick one, well, let's just say that we'll ask for like one that has an impact on you in this lifetime, or significant in this lifetime for you to learn, to recognize. Oh, come on, let me just fix the camera so I can get it. So, yeah, this is a little bit hard, huh?
We actually can see you, so that's good.
But when I'm kind of drawing, it will be like the opposite, you know, like the head will be in the opposite direction. Maybe if I can turn the camera around.
Okay, Young, because once you're done, you can
We'll figure it out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that. So what I'll do is I'd like to ask for permission.
Why don't you just kind of describe what you're drawing like you often do? You're usually pretty surprised.
Oh yeah, because I'm not thinking. I'm just allowing. It's like automatic handwriting. So if you know about automatic handwriting, your hand will move, and you're writing words. But instead of that, I'm drawing. So I'm not really thinking. I'm just looking at the picture, and then it just does its thing, right? But here, the first what I'll do is I'll ask like the intent. So I'll ask like, Melody, do I have permission to connect to aspects of you? To put down, you know, draw your past.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's another important thing too. As you work in these, there's always permissions. So you want to, you know, ask permissions. Otherwise, there could be spiritual ramifications. Okay, so we'll ask with intent to get one of your past lives that is of significance to you in this lifetime. And I'm going to place my hand. And what I learned about when I had a chat with Jason Quit, is that through drawing on a pencil and the paper, you're directing the energy into this realm. And that's how the energy can be transferred. So right now, my hand's moving, I'm drawing a head and a shoulder. And this is usually the case, like, I'll be surprised too, because I don't know what I'm drawing, but it's just moving and I can see like the body shape. And then the details could come in. And oftentimes it's usually just, what is it? The clothes that would kind of indicate the time era. Or sometimes it's like alien beings, you know? So. And I haven't done this for a while, so, but it's, so it looks like a dress, a long dress, or a skirt or something. I can't really tell. So again, my hand's just moving and it's just kind of getting the imprint and just putting more details in. It's not the prettiest drawing, but you know, it's I don't think it's supposed to be.
One of the things that I learned is the drawing is just the basics, but the information that you're getting while you're drawing is what you communicate, and that's what actually gives the fine tuning.
Ah, good insight.
So the more you talk about what you're seeing while you're drawing, you get a better idea on who this past life was.
That's a great insight because I do talk a lot when I'm drawing, trying to figure out what's going on, and then just feeling out the. So now this appears to be a female. You know, not all past lives you have to be the gender that you are in this lifetime.
You also could be an animal of some sort.
Right. One time I got a really wild snake for one of my past life.
Are you sure it was a snake and not a dragon?
No, it was definitely a snake, but it was a immense large snake. It was one of the lifetime in Series B.
Well, back in prehistoric times, the smallest snake was 15 feet long.
Wow. Yeah, no, this one felt huge, and it just had that energy. Could be 15 feet long, but
I think the largest fossil so far they found of a snake was 45 feet.
Mm.
Actually, I think they just found one in Cambodia that was bigger.
Really?
That's a big snake.
I think they found one that was almost 80.
So as you can see, my hand's just moving and my thoughts separated. I know I've done drawing before, and you know, drawing, you know, we put a lot of energy and flow into it, and then but here it's a different feeling. I'm separated, kind of like channeling, where you're stepping back and the energy just does its thing. So this is kind of what's happening.
Kind of looks Roman.
Yeah, not sure. I get a feeling that it's somewhere in Asia, though. And another thing is, I usually like to ask the occupation. What is this lifetime? And what is the lesson learned? What is the struggle? So I guess the closest I can compare this to is I'm pretty much a laser printer. I'm just getting the signal and I'm just kind of printing out the imprint or the information. So you have something which appears to be covering your forehead, kind of like a band or something of some sort.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Does it feel like she is royalty, or does she feel holy?
Holy. I'm getting very and when I say that to you, my body is reacting to this. So it seems like it's a confirmation to me. And what I'm getting now is it's nomadic. I feel it's gypsy. And I just got that confirmation. But usually I would kind of wait to ask that, and let the engine energy just kind of tell me, or the drawing, or the writing, I guess you would say, to tell me what this being is, or her past life. So right now I'm just kind of like, oh, okay. So now I sense that I'm almost done. So what's happening now is that I am drawing. Usually this indicates to me that in this lifetime, she has a very strong spiritual energy around her. I don't draw these little squiggly lines around the drawing. This is not all the case, but whenever I notice that a life that is of spiritualness or has spiritual practices, I get these little, what appears to me almost like auric field.
So do you have an idea of what her occupation was?
Okay. Okay, so I kind of know, but what I usually do is kind of discern by asking and see what I get. So for here, so this is kind of what I drew, and I'm pretty much done.
Oh.
So she has a band around her head, like a headband, and she has something around her head as well, like some decoratives around this headband. It could be hat or it could be something, and it's almost like feather-like. And I would probably put this. So I usually ask what region is she in, like South America, Asia. Then we will narrow it down to see what area this is, that her life that she lived in. Then we'll also go through like the years and then occupations and so on and so on. So I'll start off by saying, what region in this past life is she from? I get East Europe. So what occupation does she worked as, or her life entails? What is her occupation or work or profession or whatever in that time period? She's a witch.
Yoon?
Yes.
In the nomadic tribes, a witch was a medicine woman.
Yeah, I get that too. That's what I felt. And then I asked what race or what people then in East Europe. I get gypsy, nomadic gypsy, like those type of people. What year did you live in? 1365 is the number I got. Now you got to discern. Sometimes it may not fit, may not, this information. It could be also multidimensional, so it might not be a linear past life that you live in. It could be like another of yourself in another lifetime. Just food for thought. But
or another parallel.
Yeah, another parallel. And then what was her what lessons did she had to learn in that life? Healing others. She was there to heal other people. That was in that lifetime. And gosh, what do I usually ask? I haven't done this in a while, so lifetime. And
You want to ask what was the significant lesson?
yes. What is the significant lesson of that life? So as I'm writing really fast, I'm getting words in my thought. Empowering people. You're there to serve. Empowering people. And then and why is it now that this is significant in this lifetime? So that what just happened was that I asked a question in my mind because it's just quicker, and then what I'm getting is I'm getting a long response, and so that's where I'm drawing the circle as the information is coming through. Then I ask another one where it's more direct, and I get a yes. So the information that I asked for, the significance of that is that she is taking this form again in this lifetime again. How should I say that again? I'll rephrase that. That this lifetime is coming back to her in a significant way, in which she is reliving some parts of it, and the work that she's going to be doing or have been doing is to empower and to heal people. So.
Yeah.
And another thing is that I usually one thing I'm starting to learn is that I can tap and touch this and then just close my eyes, or sometimes I don't have to, and I get a visual image of the landscape and the person. So it's kind of like touching this energy which has some connection to through you, and then getting more of a picture.
Mm-hmm.
So here I'm seeing like rivers. I'm seeing a community of people, and they're traveling and they're moving. And you never stay in one place so long. I'm seeing you're picking up herbs, looking for herbs or plants or something, and mixing it, and giving it to kids. Your clothes is shaggy, more not kind of worn down, but elegant, in a sense that you can carry yourself and have the same, the clothes, and and be in of a dignitary type of embodiment. Yeah, that's
Thank you.
kind of what I got.
Yeah.
Yoon?
Yes.
I got almost the same information. I believe that she were first gypsies. They were the first ones to be called gypsies.
Mm-hmm.
They're from that time period, and they did the upreaches of Russia. They came into China areas, just the fringes, and down even as far as Turkey.
Wow. Yeah, that's kind of.
And
You were saying? Sorry.
I mean, the first gypsies had a very large territory because they were also of Celtic descent.
Mm.
And in that time, the date that you gave,
Mm-hmm.
the Celts actually had a large percentage of Europe.
Oh, wow.
So, and, yeah, and I also do think that she had some nobility.
Mm-hmm.
She chose a path of healing
Mm-hmm.
and magic over being royalty.
Wow, yeah. So your information is coming in line with the numbers I got and the historical kind of timeline. But you know, these are just information, and then if it resonates with you, you know, and hopefully it helps you with, you know, what you're in process right now. But the one I remember for Scott, I drew, and it was like a paratrooper, paratrooper.
Yeah.
During the war, and he's like, oh, yeah, I always jump all the time. I'm like, why would
That
he be?
explains a lot.
Or like I drew him, he had his hand in his pocket. I'm like, why his hand's in the pocket? And it's like, and this is like, Scott, this is like the second day I met you, so I didn't really know much about you at the time. So that was great confirmation. That you know, so we're getting something here. You know, that's.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're
That's
welcome.
really cool. Might explain why I never like to. I'm always on the move. I yeah. Kind of don't like to stay in one place for too long.
It explains her nickname. We call her. You're kind of talking about nomadic tribe moving, and we kind of see ourselves as a tribe of wolves, and we call her White Wolf Walking.
Oh.
Because she's always on the move. She's got that gypsy blood for sure.
Wow. So I'll show this again. I'll bring it closer.
Yeah. Let's see.
It's hard to tell.
Oh, that's interesting that you.
It sure has. I haven't seen you draw too many of those energy fields.
What's that, John? You were saying first?
It's very interesting that Scott said white wolf, because the medicine women usually had a wolf as a companion. And if they had a white wolf, it meant that they worked with the spirits on the other side. And the white wolf would go bring messages from the other side to her.
Ah. Things are starting to connect.
Yes. Because I just love wolves. I feel a real connection to wolves.
So awesome.
I think if I remember right, but I wasn't sure who it belonged to. I believe that there was a golden wolf with us when we did the activation, but he wasn't sitting right next to anyone. He was kind of off to one side, but I have a sneaking suspicion that he's probably one of your guardians.
Cool. That's so cool.
So we can jump to the next one.
Okay.
So John, would you like yours?
Yes.
Even though you probably know, you probably see because you have such clairvoyance.
Come up with one. We'll see if you come up with one that I haven't come up with.
Okay. Well, I'll do the same process, and I'll ask you for permission to allow this to facilitate the connecting to your Akash, your incarnated life and stuff.
I give you permission as long as you are safe at doing it.
Do you feel I'm safe at doing it right now?
Well, I will warn you that some of my past lives weren't pretty. And the last time someone tried to pull a past life, it didn't go well. So that's why I put in the cautionary. You
Okay,
start
well,
feeling distress or abilities, stop.
so this is great
Because
for
I don't
viewers.
know what you're going to be waking up.
Right. So this is great for viewers to know what kind of protocols we go through working in these type of realms or connecting more. So it's all about permissions. It's all about, understanding that we're on the light and we stay in the light. So what I do is I ask my higher self, is this permissible to connect to John's higher self to gain this access for the viewer? And if it's okay, and if it's has no ramification for me, and I'll ask that for my higher self. I got a yes. So I'll proceed. Judy's like, oh, it's good. I hope it's not like the other day. Up in Mauna Kea. So, but
I feel good. You have permission. I feel
Right.
light.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is also great too because she is also checking for me as well. So if you're in this position where you're doing things, it's nice to have people around to help. Even like the healer needs to be healed, right? So that's kind of like the saying goes. So a channeler or somebody needs to still have other people to discern for them as well. So we'll go with that. And then I'll make a new page here.
And they don't actually have to be right in the same room with you. They just have to be aware of what you are doing, and that if they feel something's not right, that they can send the proper protections to you.
Okay.
And like none of us are really close to him, but if he has a problem, we're going to be able to send a protection light to him.
Yes. And so we'll ask for, is there, you say any life or a significant one? Is there one that you...
Oh, I've had a lot of them, so...
Okay. So pretty much any that comes through right now that would be of...
Go for it. Let's
Okay.
come up with.
Any lives, even whether it's not out of Earth or not. Yeah.
Yes. So I don't know a lot of those.
That would be kind of fun if that comes through.
I know most of my Earthbound ones, but I don't know of a large number of the ones in other worlds.
I don't think this is going to be Earthbound.
It doesn't start like one.
Yeah, I notice the head comes through. Well, maybe the head's coming through. I got a circle. This is the fun part about this, because I'm also guessing too.
And it's fun watching you move so quickly, and it takes shapes and turn into an image.
So I just had a message come through of chuckling, not only from the old man, the platinum dragon, but the pyrite dragon. They both are chuckling.
Wow.
And
I'm glad they're having fun.
I'm not sure if we're ready for what's going to be coming out. They don't say it's anything bad, but I'm going to go, what? So, yeah.
I'm glad they're having
And
fun on the other side.
For those who don't know, dragons have a very warped sense of humor.
At this point, I don't even know what to make out of this.
So the pirate dragon is still communicating with you, huh, John?
Yep. I don't know why she's still hanging around, but hey, I'm not going to complain.
So
Well, it
straight
looks
off,
like we do have a lot of work to do as far as working on the Ring of Fire. So,
Yeah.
so this what's interesting about this is that sometimes I'm drawing and I get the detail first, more detailed shapes than the overall like the body structure, and it seems that this is to be the case here. Yeah, I don't know what the what this is.
Okay, that looks a little weird.
Yes. But it's taking shape. It's just not taking shape of anything that I can recognize as a being.
Well, right now it kind of reminds me of a crystalline cluster under a microscope.
I was gonna say that, John, like it's like a crystal type, some type, sort of crystals.
God, I'm laughing over here because like no wonder the pirate dragon is laughing or
Yeah.
entertained by this because this does not feel anything that is of mobile. I don't sense that.
And I can safely say this is not a life that I have ever seen before. So,
This is the weirdest thing.
and whereas I got information while you were doing Melody, when I was getting information while you were doing it for Melody, I'm not getting anything on this. I'm getting that it's me, but it's just like, wait, see. I'm going, okay.
I don't know what to make out of this. I mean, like for my like ET incarnations that I've drawn for myself, I got like a snake. Sometimes I got a being with like I don't know, like 30 arms or 40 arms or something like that, and legs. But or like an aqua person. But this is. I feel like I'm drawing a rock.
Crystal rock.
Crystal rock.
Oh, you probably are.
A beautiful one too.
Well, I do know that there are crystalline beings, and they don't have any true form, other than that they look like a cluster of different stones put together.
That's how it kind of feels like.
Maybe that's who you are right there, crystalline being.
It's like I'm drawing like little fractals or like extensions of a rock. You know what I mean? How it kind of separates. You can see like the same repeated patterns.
Yeah. And if that's the case, it's perfectly sense why I'm so attracted to stones.
Yes, that makes sense. How they
yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm drawing like a cube right now. You can see that. Or yeah. So I'm getting a 3D imagery now. You're almost like a quartz crystal type of, or
That's what it looks like, a crystal cluster. Yeah.
Yeah. This is by far the most interesting pastime.
Yeah. I think this is the first time you.
I'll be honest with you. I've connected to crystals in Arkansas, and I had conversations with crystals, connecting to my Atlantean past life, where I've worked with crystals, but nothing like this.
Oh, know what that reminds me of?
What's that?
Uh, a, a spliced section of a meteorite.
Oh, what?
Yeah, you know when they've taken meteorites and cut them into like little slabs or put it under the microscope? That's what it looks like under the microscope.
Oh. I mean, I feel like this can just go on and on.
Yeah,
But
that's what I'm getting. You'll probably fill the whole page and elsewhere.
this is very interesting. Nope, nope, nope. Done.
Done.
A lot of energy.
Wow.
So,
Huh? Wow.
That's just about what I'd expect for John.
That's quite beautiful.
Now I'm interested in what is it? When is it?
so this is kind of cool because we've tapped into Melody, which is an Earthling being. Now we have something that almost, well, it could be a crystal within the Earth, or it could be from a different planet. So now we have an opportunity to ask. I'll start off by asking, is this of this planet or his incarnation here? No. So it's extraterrestrial, it seems. Or let me see. You mentioned asteroid, right? A meteorite? Is it a meteorite?
Meteorite, he said.
Meteorite. No.
Could be a planet that broke.
Is it from a planet outside of this, some...
Outside of Earth?
Yes. Yes.
Where? What planet?
We'll go with system first. Or stars, so we can kind of locate in the sky. Sirius A. So is in that cluster of
Star system?
star system. What planet is this? I don't know how to say this word. Can you spell it? I'm asking myself. I know. Potitus, something like that. Potitus.
Is it potitis or thotitis? Because I have heard of thotitis before.
Potitus. Potitus. That's the closest I can get. Like in the sound I'm listening to my head. In the spelling.
Okay.
It could be, Totitus. It sounds very similar. Could be the same, but is it the same what he's thinking? Or the same planet?
Okay.
Yes, it's the same one. Same
Okay.
one. So now we ask time frame. In our linear time frame, when was this? Like when did you live, I guess, as a crystal in this system? If we talk about human years, right? Oh, approximately like 1 million years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And so...
What kind of crystal is he?
That's a difficult one, but I guess I'll ask what... Because, it could be other things that we don't know, but... Yeah, what kind of crystal is he? The closest that we know of. It's a white crystal.
White crystals.
White crystal?
So, is that a color or
There's
type of crystal?
1,000 white crystals.
Yeah. Is it any of the crystals that we have here on this planet? No. It's a opaque, white, iridescent type of crystal.
Opaque, iridescent. What is this?
So it's similar to moonstone.
That sounds like, yeah.
It's similar to moonstone.
Is that right? Is it similar to moonstone? Yes. Yes, but it's not a moonstone.
Okay. The
And
only stone that I have heard of that's similar to that was destroyed in the supernova when the planet went supernova was pilonite.
is that of this planet?
Is that what it is? Huh?
Do we have that here?
No, pilonite doesn't exist here.
Oh.
But it is an opaque, reflective stone.
Is it, okay, so I'll ask, is it a pilonite stone? No, it's not that one.
Okay.
It's none that we know of. Okay, so I'll move on. I'll say, so when you got the year, and then we got a location.
The significant.
And then we'll ask for the significance. What is the significance of this and of showing us this incarnation for John to see in this lifetime? Basically, what I got is to show you your connection to crystals, and that you have I'm just using my own interpretation, so verbatim it's probably not the same, but you have full access to the knowledge of crystals because you are one of, crystals. So you carry that with you.
I've heard that before.
So it's more of...
I've heard that before.
It's more just to show you, but you are already doing it. But it's also to tell you, to show you that there's more crystals for you to access that are not of this planet, for you to explore. And you have all that knowledge already. You just have to tap into it.
So can you ask what is the significance of John? How can John tap into these crystals to assist at this time?
He already does. He's doing it. But he just needs to direct his energy into these crystals, and more information will come. And these crystals are greatly beneficial to humanity for some reason. There's a wealth of knowledge for him to share.
Am I supposed to find people already fallen here from other worlds, and I'm supposed to find them?
Yeah.
Can he ask these crystals to assist with the Ring of Fire?
Yes.
They can send the energy this way. But the main assistance is through us, through the humans. Due to free will.
That makes sense.
Wow, it's a lot of energy.
A lot, yeah.
Oh, John. I'm connected to your higher self, and you have a lot of energy. So that's...
Yeah.
Okay, I need to calm down a little bit because it's shifting through my body right now.
Thank you.
Okay, so, and we forgot to ask one thing. What is the significance of that lesson that he had to learn? There's always something to learn, right? So I'll ask, and when John just popped out, but when you pop that back in, we'll give him the answer. So what is the significance of the lesson that he had to learn as a rock crystal? To pull energy in as a data bank for future incarnation. He was storing memories to be accessed for later on, to be tapped into. Is that right?
That makes sense because crystals carry energy.
Yes.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Oh, John, you're still there. Great. Did you heard that, right? So
Yes.
it sounded like
Yeah.
you were prepping yourself for future incarnations by storing memories in yourself to be tapped later on. Tapped into.
Yeah, and he's
Yep.
tapping into it right now by teaching too.
Yeah.
He's sharing that wisdom.
So the last thing I'll do is I'm going to touch this and just get a more picture of the surroundings. This planet is a crystal planet. That it's full of crystals, inside out. It has a shimmer of pink.
That's like
Pink, like an edge shimmer pink, like when you see rainbow, like on the tip of a crystal. I see like a little pinkish purple on it, but it's mostly opaque white, and parts of it kind of glitters and shines, and there's clusters everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The planet is like a hard drive. Like, it's basically a crystal planet.
Yep.
Okay, so where are you in this planet?
It's a recorder. Huh?
You're like one and all. So like this drawing right here is just like a big huge lump, like almost like a skyscraper.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time I'm getting data download that's like you're also like the whole planet because it's all crystals.
Yep.
But that
crystals have a hive complex.
Yeah, but that pyramid that I'm showing, that I'm seeing this right here, it's like really huge. It's almost like it's like an antenna that you're tapping into. It's like a signal that wherever you go, you're tapping to this knowledge. And these little, like, I would say obelisks, because if you can have that visualness, like an obelisk, like, or like a, it's like an antenna. So the crystal that they're showing is kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But what's interesting is you look at this again.
So I get that.
You see a circle right here? And just spread. So it's almost like crystals have center parts. So let's say if you're an incarnate, you still have soul center, like your third eye and things like that. It almost feels that way.
Yep. And the pyramid that you're describing, what I see is as big as a...
We missed you on there. What did you say again?
You mentioned a pyramid.
Yeah.
What I saw was that pyramid is the size of our Earth.
Wow. And I thought it looked like a skyscraper, but it gets much bigger than that. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's really huge. So I know it's up in the we've gone way over again, but for those viewers, this is just a little thing that we're as we're doing this, we're learning too, and it's exciting. So I hope you are interested and you actually listen to this all the way up to now. Otherwise, you can watch it again and just fast forward to this part because it's pretty exciting. And as a group, we have a lot to offer, and we're trying to put up services on our website and also John's too. So, but eventually we'll have something that can work, so it's very accessible. So please continue to check out. We'll continue to update, and we'll announce certain features that comes up on the website. But if you want to reach out for us for any of our services, email us, connect us right away, and just send us I would like to have like automatic drawing of my past life, or I'd like to have a channeling or reading or my dragon. We're all here to assist. So email us, Facebook, reach out to us for now, and in the future maybe we'll have some type of shopping cart, something like that, where looks a bit more professional. But we don't have that as today. But
yes, and also if they want to take the stone classes, John offers stone classes and dragon classes as well.
Yeah, and we've all taken I think most of us taken the crystal class, and it's amazing. So he has a wealth of knowledge, and I've demonstrated to you that he has a deep connection to crystals because he is one. So that's very another avenue for you if you wish or intrigued to know more about crystals, dragons, automatic handwriting, channeling. So we'll kind of put that all together, but anything that you see that we kind of demonstrated and you're interested and that we have not put up on the website, you can reach out to us and contact us and just let us know you're interested, and we'll set something up for you. And with that, thank you for tuning in, and please subscribe to us. That would help us out to spread, bring about awareness to our group. And that's all I have to say. I know we'll be talking more afterward because this is a lot of fun. But please stay tuned with us, and we'll have something for next week. And I guess I'll open up for everyone if anyone else have anything else they have to say.
I just want to say that I just shared our email. Did you say it already? It's radiateup@gmail.com.
Yes, I did not say that, but yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
And Jung, maybe it'd be helpful. You can type it underneath in our YouTube on the bottom there.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that too.
Yeah, that would be helpful so that they can contact us. Yes, and do join our family, Radiate Up. That's all we all, bringing in love and light.
Yes, and if you are interested in some type of meditation to assist to alleviate all that eruption that's potentially building up around the Ring of Fires and elsewhere, contact us because we are, trying to get more information as to how we can assist with that effort.
And I also want to say that through your intention, you don't have to go out there and actually do the work like the grid workers or light workers. It's all about intention. Just send your thoughts, your love and light. You send it for your, whatever thoughts or healing that you have in mind. Just send it to that place, and it would help. Definitely.
Great. And John, Scott, do you have anything last words to say? Melody?
Well, I would like to, if someone is interested in any clairvoyant readings or anything like that, or want to know what their gifts are, they can contact me either through the group or they can go to my website at stonecipher.shop. So www.stonecipher.shop, and that's with an I, not a Y. And I can see a little more of what classes I offer and other options. But yes, you don't have to go to Mexico. You don't have to go to Japan. You don't have to go to Alaska. You can send your conscious thoughts, like Vivian said. Send your intentions, send your love. And the more people that do that, the better things will get.
Yeah, definitely. So,
Melody?
No, I just wanted to say thank you. It's been great being here. And